I vividly remember that first week of driving our brand new Tesla Model 3 back in 2021 and all the learnings that came along with it. And today I get to chat to a fellow subscriber and new-time Tesla owner 1 week after picking up his brand new Model Y. He also happens to live in a pretty beautiful part of the world. So coming from a petrol car, what was the first and most unusual thing you noticed about driving a Tesla?
Definitely not having to turn it on and off. It's bizarre.
1 week in, what do you feel has been a standout feature for you?
There's so many. There's so many to put it on one. I think it's just so exciting to just know that you're using renewable, or if you're able to use renewable to charge and you're not using petrol. There's something that it's sort of just an underlying feeling that you're sort of going in the right direction and you're not driving around and polluting as you go. There's something really good about that. Feature-wise, the screen. It's just, the screen is great. The maps are amazing. I don't know what it's called yet, but the actual map view with the picture.
Like the satellite view?
The satellite view is really great. I didn't realise how useful it would be, and just driving around where we live every day and seeing, oh, that's up there and that's up there, and oh wow, I didn't know that was it, is really cool.
Has there been any downsides to this car in this sort of first week of owning it that you've noticed coming from other cars that you've driven before?
I think using the screen is a little bit, there's a sort of a technique to it. It's quite hard. We're in the country here, the roads are not ideal. You're quite often doing 80 or 100 and there just is a bit of vibration, and it's sometimes a little bit hard to just hit where you want on the screen. But I think you get, even the space of a week or so, I've got more used to that, in the way that you can just like hold your hand onto the edge of the screen and use your thumb, or vice versa, just to steady yourself.
Yeah, how are you finding the one pedal driving?
Good. Did get a comment from the kids of, like, Dad, your driving's making me car sick. Because you just tend to back off too soon and then you have to accelerate up, and there's a lot of not quite there, not quite there.
Yeah.
I, from one of your videos, have gone to chill mode.
Yeah.
And that's definitely helped, but I'm persevering with just the standard regenerative
full regen.
Full regen, I think.
Most efficient.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
You've just got to get used to that.
Yeah. When it comes to the suspension, I've actually noticed your Y has an upgraded softer suspension than ours.
Okay.
Have you noticed any downsides in that regard to suspension?
No. It's got a different feel to our other car, but if I jump through any other car, they're all going to feel different.
Yeah.
We were in a big SUV, in a Q7 before this, which is a very airy, sort of almost like wallowy ride.
Yeah.
So this is definitely a firmer ride, but going around corners, it feels it's better at speed in corners on country roads. There's a lot more direct feedback when I jump back into our other car. The steering and the suspension almost feels all a bit loose and disconnected.
Yeah.
So I think it's certainly not something that I think is as hyped up. Well, in this new iteration, it's not a concern at all.
Well, it's funny because we feel the same thing in ours, and yet you've even got an upgraded suspension.
Yeah.
So I think this is good to hear.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem at all. I think a lot of motoring media obsess over it for no reason.
I think they're looking for something to pick at, and they're trying so many different cars, and it's kind of the outstanding thing that they can pick on, because overall there's a lot of positives. So it's
absolutely, and we've got the larger wheels as well, and I think even if you had like a level of concern, you could go the smaller.
Yeah, the 19s.
That would probably ride even softer.
It would, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know what drew you to this car in the first place.
A lot of things. I looked at a lot of electric cars. We've got 2 kids, so it's a family car for us. So the size was important, and having something just that bit larger than the Model 3. Lots of the other electric cars were smaller. And ultimately the charging network,
Yep.
no, the charging network is just better.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about that. This is speaking around Australia
Yeah.
and where we live in rural Victoria.
Yep.
There's just more charging opportunities here when you're on road trips. I think the last thing is just like the equation of price.
Yeah.
Price, quality, range.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything that can match it. And this
Yeah.
is the base model,
Yeah.
Model Y, apart from the wheels are the only thing we've changed. And for the price and the range and the quality of the overall car, I feel like it feels a lot more expensive
Yeah.
than it is. And
Yeah.
it is expensive, don't
Yes.
get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it's still the best part of $80,000 on the road.
Yeah.
A lot of the other cars that were in the family car range are well over 100,000.
Yeah.
Almost twice as much
Yeah.
for similar or less range.
Yeah.
Probably a nicer interior, but subjective.
Yep.
And it's not that important
Yeah.
to us. And there's still a generation behind in technology.
Yep.
It didn't make sense to get anything else really
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
And being out here in the country,
Yep.
what drew you to electric in the first place? Well, why did you start looking at electric cars?
I didn't want to just keep burning fuel. It also became a cost equation. It's going to be a lot less for us to run this. We have a lot of solar. It's winter here now and we're still managing to charge the car off solar. Our car was ready to be changed over and I couldn't bring myself to buy another sort of internal combustion car.
Yeah.
I think in 5 or 7 years where we might be looking to get another new car, no one's going to want
No.
internal combustion engine car anymore.
Yeah. And you mentioned solar and your charging setup. Talk us through what that's like. How many kilowatts you have and how's it work?
Yeah. So sure, we've got about 21 kilowatts of solar panels. So it's roughly 3 sort of normal house size systems.
Yep.
And we have a 20 kilowatt battery storage here as backup because we
Wow.
have a lot of power outages
Yep.
here. Basically, whenever the wind blows, our power goes out. So
Yeah.
we have that. And we've just invested in the Fronius Watt Pilot to charge, and that allows us to charge automatically from excess solar. It's been fairly faultless. The only thing I'm trying to tweak is to stop the car charging from our backup battery, but that's just something that needs to be dealt with in the settings, but we're getting there with that one.
Yeah. On the technology front, what has struck you as being the most impressive with this car?
Just the overall safety. I think that technology and the way it upgrades, and I mean, in the time we've had it, I think we've had 2 software updates that
Yeah.
have made improvements in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I've never had a car that does that.
Yeah. I mean, still to this day, there's not many cars that do that.
No, and even when you take your other cars to service and they upgrade, they say, oh, we've updated the software.
Yeah.
It's usually like that, they've put a new menu in the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really an upgrade.
Yeah.
The thing that I do love is just the ability to control the car from your phone.
Yeah.
See where it is, being able to like monitor the charge and precondition the car. It's freezing.
Yeah.
It's freezing here at the moment. It's -2 this morning.
Yeah.
And I was able to get in a car at 8 a.m. and it was already at 20 degrees in the car and ready to go.
Yeah. Heated seat, heated steering wheel.
The heating steering wheel is awesome.
Yep.
It is across the board. Again, like I said, another generation ahead of anything else I've looked at.
Yeah.
So in every department.
Yep.
So yeah, the technology, the connectivity is really great.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you pointed out safety in that piece of technology because
Yeah.
it does often get overlooked. But as we know, the Model Y has seen the highest rating in European and American standards.
Yep.
And it is because of those features. It's like the small things, like when you look away from the road, that in-cabin camera is detecting what your face is doing and it knows to warn you, whether that's early, whether that's medium, and it's just all seamless in the way that it does play into that.
Absolutely.
Have you had that feeling of range anxiety yet?
No, I thought that I might, but the only time I've looked at the battery and the percentage is from when we picked the car up to when we got home. Since then, I just have not given it a second thought. I actually think that range anxiety is just not, it's something that has just been dreamt up by politicians and motoring journalists more widely. I understand that it takes longer to charge, but the reality is you just don't cover, very rarely will you cover more than the range of this
Yep.
in one drive or one day.
And this is the standard model.
This is the standard model, yeah. Yeah, and we live 80 or 100 k's from Melbourne.
Yep.
And there's nothing within like 15 kilometres of our house.
Yeah.
It just does not come in. Anyone that is worried, just really my takeaway is that they shouldn't be.
Yeah. Great advice. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned the delivery. How was that delivery experience? What would you sort of rate that overall experience out of 10? Was it like pretty good, or how did you feel?
It was somewhat bizarre. It's probably the best one. We've bought a couple of new. I've been lucky enough to buy a couple of new cars previously from other brands. The experiences of those deliveries sort of got more and more extreme. Of like I think the Audi pickup delivery was about 3 hours. And,
Wow.
Involved like big unveilings and ribbons on cars and taking you through every single thing. Whereas Tesla is literally like, hi, what's your order number? You'll find your car at lot C1. Have a good time. That is, and then when you get down there, they say, "Do you want a photo?" Yes. Hop in. Do you want help with anything? And that's it. And you're in this sort of industrial warehouse where you actually picked us up at the new delivery centre in Port Melbourne, which I don't know what was, some sort of shipping storage type facility previously. And it's actually, in hindsight, you don't really need someone to take you through every single function and look, they are on hand there if you want to ask anything, but it's not that complicated to drive. For us, it's literally the first time my wife had ever driven an electric car was when we drove out of the delivery centre.
Wow.
It was fine. So,
Yeah.
and I'd only driven a Model 3 maybe 15 kilometres a few months ago. And that's our only experience of driving them. So, it's good. I'll give it a 7.
Cool. What do you feel has been the most rewarding thing about owning this car 1 week in?
At the end of the day, it's a car for transport and for getting around the place, and it does that really well. It's smooth, it's comfortable, it's efficient, it's quiet. So what else do you want? Everything else is just extra. And I got my first wave from another Tesla driver the other day.
In the country?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think it was just like, it was the one finger wave.
Yeah, the cool wave, yeah.
Yeah, on the standard of...
What did you wave back? One finger? Were you a bit more enthusiastic?
No, I think I was just like completely shocked. I just wasn't prepared for it. I think I just gave a bit of a...
Awkward new Tesla owner wave.
Yeah.
What would be the biggest piece of feedback that you would give Tesla as a business so far since picking up this car?
Okay, yeah, I think just an increased level of communication around delivery and how far you really are out from delivery. They do give you a delivery window, but we went from delivery window to a text message on sort of Friday at 9 p.m. saying your car was ready on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it just, because we weren't able to sort of get our finance organised in time for that, and then there was a bit of faff of calling and changing the delivery window. I just think if they could extend that out to a week or something, that would be really great.
Yeah. Would you say that you feel this is the best car you've ever owned?
Definitely.
Really?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, the car that we're coming from was just less than twice the price, and this has more. And that the quality of the interior is not probably quite where that car was, but it's certainly, I cannot fault the interior, the exterior, the finish, the paint so far is fine. Value for money, I just don't see why you'd need to spend more money on a car.
So there you have it, a pretty good recap 1 week in from Mike. I certainly found myself relating to a lot of his comments, remembering that first week when we had our Model 3. And I hope for any soon-to-be Tesla owners you found this video and discussion useful. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.